If you could control what your partner sees in their Facebook feed, what ads they see at the bottom of news stories, is that something you would pay for? Because there is a service that we, to be fair, don't know is real or not. It's a micro-targeting service called The Spinner that is offering just that. But whether it's real or not, it provokes this whole wider world of micro-targeting, because right now there is a bunch of services that use your data to target you with very, very specific ads. How does that work? We're about to find out. Let's talk to our panel this week. We have Ariel Bogle, who is the online technology reporter for the ABC, joining us in the studio, and joining us from Melbourne is Ben Grubb. He is a writer whose work you can see across the Fairfax Press. So Ben, if you had to introduce the idea of The Spinner to somebody, how would you go about explaining it?
A very creepy micro-targeting advertising system designed to fool and manipulate people into being deceived into doing a certain thing.
I do want to stress it's a bit unclear as to whether or not it's an elaborate internet prank or something that you can actually engage in. Ariel, how would it actually work if you were to log on to it, theoretically?
I'd just like to note that I tried to load the page where you can look at it and the ABC blocked it. So
Classic nanny state public broadcaster, right?
So that's my understanding is that it would present your partner with links to articles on the side of the page. Maybe when you scroll to the bottom of a news article, you often get offered those bizarre links to like 5 ways avocado can solve depression.
These are the
whatever.
little outbrain things at the bottom. They're sort of sold.
Yeah, that's kind of my understanding. And that instead of avocado stories, it could be 5 reasons why men cheat. It's because you're not sleeping with them, dummy. That kind of thing.
So the initial concept was that men could sign up to this service, pay a fee, and then send a link to their girlfriend or partner, and those ads, their ads that they see on the screen would then change to be all very sexual, so that the man would be able to get more sex from them.
What is actually doable with micro-targeting in ads now? How much control can you have over what very small specific demographics can see in their social media and in their news feeds?
I've been doing a series called Prying Eyes for crikey.com.au, and I have learnt so much about what advertisers are actually able to do. I didn't even know that some of the apps that we have on our phones are actually tracking our location all the time. It's like, I downloaded this calculator app. Why does it want my location? And what's actually happening is they're sending that location data, pinging it back up to 300-400 times a month to an advertiser network, right? And so that they're then able to target you based on the exact store that you visit, and then the ads that you see within other apps on your phone will then be related. So I found that Hyundai in Australia, their advertising agency formulated a plan where if you entered a rival's store, all the ads on your phone would be for Hyundai. Like, it was crazy. Like, there is an actual example in the US, right, where you would go to the vicinity of an abortion clinic, and then all these ads would come up from Christian groups saying, don't abort your child. And so they actually had the Attorney General in that state crack down on it. And it's actually quite interesting, right, because in New South Wales, they've got these physical exclusion zones outside abortion clinics to stop the rallies. But what about the digital exclusion zones? No one's actually thought about that. So it's really creepy what you're able to do. And that is micro-targeting. That's what we call geo-targeting, to be honest, because it's based on your location. Online, though, I asked a couple of technical boffins whether this spinner thing was possible, and they said pretty much anything is possible these days. Anything is possible. The idea here is that people might be familiar with what a cookie is. We don't talk about it much anymore, but it's something that follows you all around the web, and it kind of, reports back the kind of things that you're interested in, and then it goes off to advertising networks, and, the ads that you see on your screen change based on past behaviour on the internet, and you can potentially hijack those cookies to then have, very sexual ads or any particular topic shown to, in this case, a partner.
So let's flip that on its head for a second then, Ariel. How would you be able to find out how you have been micro-targeting? Is there a way for you as a consumer to start looking at those ads and going, hold on a second, who's following me? Do you have an agency in that regard as a user?
That's a really good question. So I actually had a piece a few months ago where I tried to track a few of the ads that have been shown to me on Facebook and go back and see how they got there. So you do have rights under the Privacy Act in Australia to ask for the data that a company holds about you. But it gets really murky really quick. So I went to some of the top data brokers here in Australia, Axiom, Experian, Quantium. They
all have names that sound like they're from bad Star Trek episodes.
It's crazy. So Quantium, for example, is partly owned by Woolworths. And so if you have a Woolworths loyalty card, they could be tracking your purchases and using those purchases to make a guess at what type of person you are, in conjunction with some of the personal details you might have given them, your name, location, age. Even your type of credit card could indicate what type of person they might think you are. So I saw an ad on Facebook for a trip to New Zealand. And on Facebook, you can click in the top right corner, why am I seeing this ad? And at that point, I was told, well, you're seeing an ad from 100% Pure New Zealand because you were in a data selection from Quantium and you're in this age bracket. And I called Quantium and they were like, no, we don't have any personal information about you. And this is this kind of tricky thing where they de-identify the data and they put it together back with Facebook and everyone says they never saw who I was. Nevertheless, I ended up in a group from Quantium that suggested I was a traveller. Eager for adventure.
All right, that is all we have time for right now, but there is the complete podcast of Download This Show, which is available right now. We're also answering, hopefully, all of your questions about My Health Records, whether you can opt out, how much data is being kept on you, how secure is that data. All of that is waiting for you right now on the podcast of Download This Show. See you guys.